Check, check, check. Check. Hey-oh. Yeah, grab yourself a chair or a few. Set them up wherever you'd like. Ethan, does your mask smell like something? No? No? Yeah, I left my masks at home too, so I had to take one of these. But it has an interesting smell to it. That could be. Hey-oh, go ahead, grab a chair or a few. Set it up wherever you'd like. Grab a chair. You set it up anywhere. I rhyme. I'm a rhymer. Owen! Come on in, grab a chair, set it up anywhere. Lydia, are you alone? You're alone? We're all alone together. Wait. Super sure. Positively sure. I love it. Good work, guys. 4, 3, 2. Oh, is this an interview? I'm very on the spot. Ouch. I'm already hired. Oof, that's rough. Yes, sir. Okay, so the problem with taking off your masks is that if we were a group under 10, you could. So, we're gonna have to vote out 2 people. Okay? The only other way that you get to take your mask off is if you're on the stage with the microphone.
I forgot to wear socks. Oh, man.
No! No mask, no socks. You got robbed, sir. So, how's everyone doing? Good. Good? Thumbs up? Bad? Thumbs down? Bad? Boo. That's sad. Good is somewhat subjective. No, it's not. Not at all. But there would be varying degrees of goodness. Greetings, greetings. Grab a chair, set it up anywhere. I'm a rhymer. Worked all night on that rhyme, and it's not good. So let's begin with some announcement-y things. Let's go over the rules, because those are important. You need to know them. You need to apply them. The rules are simple. Respect yourself. Respect the space. Respect each other, respect your leaders. So respecting the space means that if you make a mess in your general area, you clean up your general area. If you, respecting others means that you're not talking to them and distracting them while everything is going on. Respecting yourself means that you're not distracting yourself with your cell phone or moving chairs all over the place. That was perfect. Respecting your leaders means that if they tell you to do something, you should do it, unless, of course, it violates your personal code of conduct or any ethical bounds that you are bound by. Yay, ethicals and morals and stuff. Clap for Lynn! Man, what power I wield. It is. I did say clap. I didn't say give her a round of applause. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Yeah, that's all for the rules. Discord. Okay. Now, Discord, I love Discord. How many of you love our Discord little chatty mabobber? Okay, so I emailed your moms, your dads, your guardians, your aunts and uncles, whoever's on the newsletter. I emailed them. And I said that we're working on getting you guys to understand how important it is to manage your own notifications. And yes, it is important. For one thing, you will sleep better once your notifications are all under control, because Piggy won't be waking you up at 2:49 in the morning. Hey, don't mute me. Your parents will love you more. Not more, but like they will love you the same amount, just, I don't know, they'll appreciate you more because you can manage your notifications. Your teachers will love you more, that is true, because you're not disrupting their class anymore. And you will live a more productive and successful life if you learn to manage notifications. Okay. I know. So if you don't know how to manage notifications, let someone know. Andrew, I saw him like 2 seconds ago. Andrew's here. He knows how to manage notifications. There are youths here. Youths who know how to manage notifications already. Raise your hand. Ah, there you go. There's some people there. Okay? Don't leave the chat, because the chat is one of the best places that you will be able to stay connected with Cornerstone Youth. Now, my favoritist announcement of the night. So I don't know why, but I'm super excited about this. It's not that the new building is like, there's anything special about it, but it is way cool, and I'm super excited about it. Yes, questions? Yes. Yes. So once COVID is no longer a thing, playing sardines in this building is going to be like, if this is on the chain, it's going to be way over there off the chain. Okay. So it's like on a completely new chain. No, it's going to be fun. So I emailed your parents, parental guardians, whatever's today, gave them the address on February the 24th. Same times, really the same kind of program, just in Sackville. Okay? We're going to be looking at doing this once every quarter, which means about 4 times a year. And I'm going to be speaking to your youth leaders about maybe doing a game night over there, kind of like the one that we did here a little while ago, but for March break. Yay! But I don't have a date for you yet, so that's why it's not in the announcements. So we're going to play a game in just a minute, but first, let's jump into our lesson. We have a project due tomorrow. Oof. So we've been talking about goals. Brendan says he has a goal that was handed to him tomorrow of a project. Oh, it's a goal. What percentage of your grade is it worth? Oh, you can fail it and still get by. You'll be fine. So we've been busy dreaming. We've been busy looking at goals. We've been setting goals, making plans, and I've got a couple goals that I want you to achieve tonight. Are you ready? I'm going to set for you a goal. You will either achieve it or you will fail. It is not. Okay? I will give you 15 minutes to no, not 15 minutes. I will give you 15 seconds to complete each goal. Okay? Now you gentlemen, you might want to back up just slightly. Now, when you have completed your goal, your objective is to stand on your chair, okay? As soon as you have completed the objective, you stand on your chair. What do you do when you've completed your objective? You guys are listening. I love it. Okay, so the first few things you will be able to complete on your own. You won't be able to complete them all, but working together, you may be able to complete some. Okay, are you ready? All right, the first person who can show me a student ID with the letter J on it, up on your chair, and show me. Student ID with the letter J on it. You got it? Up on your chair. If it's a stool, be careful. I'll come back and I'll look. I want to see it. I want to see it. Student ID with the letter J. Let me see. Where's the letter J? Oh, there it is. Good job, Dommy. All right, have a seat. Have a seat. Great job. Great job. Is it? I forgot. I made music. Where's... Hey, music. Music. There's music. Music? Is it there? There it is. Yay. All right. All right. First person with this item up on your chair, a chewed piece of gum. Let's see it. There it is. Magnificent. Yay. Okay. Sit down. Sit down. Okay. First person with it. Your goal. A person wearing black socks up on your chair. Let me see it. Let me see it, Jed. Let me see the black socks. Yes, sir. All right, Jed, you win that one. Great work. All right, the first person to complete this goal will have to get up on their chair. I need a selfie with a youth leader. First person, selfie with a youth leader. First person, selfie with a youth leader up on your chair. Why? Bethany got it. Well, let me see it. I need to see it. Let's verify. Selfie, leader, well done. Excellent. You guys ran right by Amy. Way to make it difficult, Andrew. I love it. Okay, first person that can show me one of your baby pictures up on your chair. Better than a baby picture? Nope. Won't work. Not working. You got it? You got a baby picture? Bethany's working on it. Baby picture. Yeah. You as a baby. It's between you and Bethany right now. Oof. Let's see it. Up on your chair. Let's see. Aww! Well done. I actually did not anticipate anyone getting that one. Okay. If you still have your phones out, the first person who can show me a screenshot of any Bible verse up on your chair. Any Bible verse, a screenshot of it.
I have the Becky Hills back.
Let's see it, Bethany. And it is a screenshot. Excellent. Well played. It's also copyright infringement, so get rid of that. All right, I told you might have to work together. The first person who can get 3 right shoes tied together. 3 right shoes.
What? This is not fair. I don't have places.
3 right shoes tied together. Up on a chair. So dangerous. Wait, let's see. All 3, they're not, now they are tied together. Well done. Wow. That's craziness. All right. Last, while you get your shoes back. It's Bethany's shoe now. She has an extra shoe. All right. First person who can get me 4 pens. 4 pens. Let me see them. Let me see. Hold them up high. Nice. Dami got it. Dami got it.
Stefan, I have an elastic band.
Wow, guys, I'm really impressed. That was really well done. So we've been talking about setting goals, and I just set for you 8 goals, and many of you achieved those goals. How does that feel? Feels good, doesn't it? Oh, Brendan. So we've been setting goals. We've been setting regular-sized goals, us-sized goals. We've been talking about setting God-sized goals and things that we couldn't possibly complete on our own. But before we get to God-sized goals, let's talk about us-sized goals. Does anyone in here have a goal to get physically stronger? You want to be physically stronger, okay? Yes, I'll include that. Okay? So as you're working towards this goal, what are some of the things that you have to do? You have to work out, you have to cross-train. Yes, other things. What did you say? CrossFit is one of the ways that you get stronger, yes. Anything else? Okay. Yes, that's certainly a way. Any other ways? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Like, one of my goals was to learn how to play guitar. And to play guitar, you have to do 2 things. You have to, A, build up castles. Not castles. I wish I had castles on my fingers, but that's not the case. You have to build up calluses on your fingers. That's one of the tricks. And the other one is you really have to build up finger strength in order to press the strings down. And it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of practice to do that. I can. So, 3 weeks ago, we talked about, we introduced this series, and we were talking about New Year's resolutions. And did you know that by the end of January, only 20% of people who have made New Year's resolutions are still actively working on them? Oof. That's sad. And that's because achieving our goals is really hard work. Even when we make detailed plans and we have the best intentions, it takes strength, commitment, and perseverance to follow through. And I don't know what your goals in life are. Maybe you have some spiritual goals, or physical goals, or mental goals, relationship goals. Maybe they're even God-sized goals. Whatever goals you have right now, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The bad news first. In life, you will face opposition. Ooh, yeah, it'll come. If you haven't already, you're going to experience opposition. You're going to experience frustration. You're going to experience a lack of motivation on your way to achieving your goals. We're going to talk about that tonight. But the good news is that there is hope. When your goals are too much to handle on your own, when things get difficult and you feel weak or discouraged, how do you keep pursuing your goals and finish strong? We're going to take a look at the story of Nehemiah again, and he's got a little bit to show us tonight. So if you haven't been here for the last 3 weeks, last week we didn't talk about Nehemiah, we had Christmas instead. But we've been talking about Nehemiah, we've been talking about the home of the Jewish people. And so long ago, the city of Jerusalem is destroyed by an enemy. And God promised the Jewish people that they would one day return to Jerusalem. And the Jewish people slowly begin rebuilding Jerusalem. And although people were living in Jerusalem, Nehemiah learned that the walls were falling down. And Nehemiah wanted to repair the walls to honor God and protect his people. And for months, Nehemiah is praying and planning and preparing. Nehemiah asked the king to let him repair the walls, and the king says yes. And so Nehemiah recruited a team to help, but not everyone was excited about this idea. And so once Nehemiah arrives in Jerusalem, Nehemiah gets to work. He convinces tons of people who are living there that they need to work together to repair the city wall. So I'm going to just take out Nehemiah chapter 3, and I'm going to read a little bit of it for you because it's really long. Okay, Nehemiah 3. Okay, and this is just like the first 5 verses, okay? The high priest Eliashib and his fellow priests were up and at it. They went to work on the sheep gate. They repaired it and hung its doors, continuing on as far as the Tower of the 100 and the Tower of Hananel. Isn't it? The men of Jericho worked alongside them. Next to them, Zakur, son of Imri. The fish gate was built by the Hesena brothers. They repaired it, hung its doors, and installed its bolts and bars. Meremoth, son of Uriah, the son of Hakkoz, worked next to the Meshullam, son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabel. Next to him, Zadok, son of Bana. Next to him, the Tekoites, except for their nobles who wouldn't work with their masters and refused to get their hands dirty with such work. That's a lot of names. It's a lot of work. Okay, so what I just read for you is this section here. This chapter continues like this. And it is all the same stuff. It's literally people building the wall, yeah. That's exactly what I do. Until you tell people that, and then those are the people that question you. Yes.
We should make a sitcom about that. We just get a cast.
Wouldn't that be great?
Person, and it's just them building a wall, and they're wacky like
Yeah. So that's a long list of names of people hanging doors, putting bolts in, and it seems really tedious. And if you were reading this at home, would this be the chapter that you fall asleep during?
No.
Yeah.
The names are cool.
Okay. I would fall asleep during this chapter because it's just name after name, and it's really hard to get into. And maybe you were wondering why these boring details are in the Bible, but here's the incredible thing that I see in these details is that there are so many people involved in this work. I mean, there's a lot of names listed. And this wasn't a project that Nehemiah could have done on his own. This was a team effort. So we're going to look at Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. And it says, Sanballat was very angry when he learned that we were rebuilding the wall. He flew into a rage and mocked the Jews, saying in front of his friends and the Sumerian army officers, what does this bunch of poor, feeble Jews think they're doing? Do they think they can build the wall in a single day by just offering a few sacrifices? Do they actually think they can make something of stones from a rubbish heap and charred ones at that? Tobiah the Ammonite, who is standing beside him, remarked, that stone wall would collapse if even a fox walked along the top of it. So let's talk about these bullies, because that's pretty much what they were. One would think. Okay, but these guys, they called them weak. They mocked the quality of their work. They mocked their pain. They mocked their beliefs, and they tried to crush their hope. And even though Nehemiah and his team were being obedient to God, they still had to deal with haters. Yeah. Let's see how Nehemiah and his team handles this opposition and frustration. Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 4 through 6. And this is Nehemiah speaking. He says, Then I prayed, hear us, our God, for we are being mocked. May their scoffing fall back on their own heads, and may they themselves become captives in a foreign land. Do not ignore their guilt. Do not blot out their sins, for they have provoked you to anger here in front of the builders. At last the wall was completed to half its height around the entire city, for the people had worked with enthusiasm. And so there's a lot that we can talk about here in this little part. The three things that I noticed, though. First is that Nehemiah doesn't get distracted. He didn't fight with the guys. He didn't even add to their drama. He doesn't respond to them at all, because Nehemiah took it to God. He asked God to hear his prayers. He asked God to make it right. He wasn't afraid to be honest with God about what he was feeling either. Like, he asked God not to blot out their sins. He asked God to make them go live in captivity. That's pretty honest. He wanted those guys to be punished. And lastly, I see that Nehemiah kept going. He and his team kept building. No matter what those guys had to say, they rebuilt the wall to half its original height, and everyone poured their heart into it. And that's amazing. Nehemiah 4, verse 7 through a lot. But when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabs, Ammonites, and Ashdodites heard that the work was going ahead and that the gaps in the wall of Jerusalem were being repaired, they were furious. They all made plans to come and fight against Jerusalem and throw us into confusion. But we prayed to our God and guarded the city day and night to protect ourselves. Then the people of Judah began to complain, "The workers are getting tired, and there is so much rubble to be moved, we'll never be able to build the wall by ourselves." Meanwhile, our enemies were saying, "Before they know what's happening, we'll swoop down on them and kill them and end their work." The Jews who lived near the enemy came and told us again and again, "They'll come from all directions and attack us." So I placed armed guards behind the lowest parts of the wall in the exposed areas. I stationed the people to stand guard by families armed with swords, spears, and bows. Then, as I looked over the situation, I called together the nobles and the rest of the people and said to them, "Don't be afraid of the enemy. Remember the Lord who is great and glorious, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes." And he's Braveheart right now. When our enemies heard that we knew of their plans and that God had frustrated them, we all returned to our work on the wall. But from then on, only half of my men worked, while the other half stood guard with spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. The leaders stationed themselves behind the people of Judah who were building the wall. The laborers carried on their work with one hand supporting their load and one hand holding a weapon. All the builders had a sword belted to their side. The trumpeter stayed with me to sound the alarm. Then I explained to the nobles and officials and all the people, "The work is very spread out and we are widely separated from each other among the wall. When you hear the blast of a trumpet, rush to wherever it is sounding. Then our God will fight for us." We worked early and late, from sunrise to sunset, and half the men were always on guard. I told everyone living outside the walls to stay in Jerusalem. That way, they and their servants could help with guard duty at night and work during the day. During this time, none of us, not I, nor my relatives, nor my servants, nor the guards who were with me, ever took off our clothes. We carried our weapons with us at all times, even when we went out for water. After so much opposition, the strength of Nehemiah's team was giving out. These bullies were relentless, and yet Nehemiah was committed and strategic. Here's what I noticed from these verses. Nehemiah took it to God again. He'd been constant in communication with God since the very beginning, and this moment was no different. Nehemiah prioritized rest. He knew he and his team needed rest if they were going to have the strength to keep going, so he found a way for them to work in shifts. And Nehemiah chose community. Nehemiah's team committed to protecting and supporting each other for as long as their opposition lasted, and Nehemiah kept going again. The job was a little more difficult than it had been in the beginning, but Nehemiah never stopped. He kept moving forward. He adjusted his plan, and he got creative in order to continue the work. And I wish I could tell you that Nehemiah's opposition ended there, but it didn't. He faced even more obstacles in chapters 5 and 6, both from his enemies and from the very same people he was trying to help, his Jewish family. And at one point, Nehemiah receives a series of terrifying letters and death threats. And these men did not want Nehemiah to finish the wall, but watch how Nehemiah reacts, okay? In Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 9, he says this. They were trying to intimidate us into quitting. They thought, they'll give up. They'll never finish it. And then Nehemiah prayed, "Give me strength." Give me strength, Nehemiah prays. He could have asked God for anything, but he simply asked God for the strength to finish the work. Hundreds of years after Nehemiah, there was another man with a God-sized goal to spread the news of Jesus across the world. His name was Paul, and he was one of the leaders of the early church. We've talked about him quite a bit here. At some point during Paul's ministry, he writes a letter to a young man whose name was Timothy. Paul was encouraging Timothy, and he was Timothy's mentor. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7 says, For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. You know, we all know what it's like to face obstacles. We know what it's like to be frustrated. And it's never more true than when we're facing God-sized goals. When we're chasing God-sized goals, we're going to be hit with obstacles. And although God never promises the process will be easy, this is what he does promise: that we don't need to be afraid, that God's Spirit will be with us, and that God will provide us with strength. And along with strength, Paul mentions love and self-discipline here too. When God gives us a God-sized goal, the challenges and opposition we face can actually be a gift. You see, the resistance helps us. Can you stop playing with Mike? Because it's been going in and out. I'll just go without. So just like Nehemiah planned to experience opposition, the resistance helps us strengthen our faith muscles. It helps us grow in love, and it helps us develop grit. And so we should expect to face difficulties when we're pursuing God-sized goals. But here's the good news that I promised at the beginning. No matter what the world throws at us, God gives us strength to pursue God-sized goals. And sometimes it seems like our challenges become the most difficult just before we cross the finish line. And that was certainly true for this guy. I'm going to show you a video in just a second. His name is Derek Redmond. He's a runner who competed in the 1992 Olympics. Derek planned, he prepared, he trained hard. But 250 meters away from the finish line, his hamstring tore. So what's your goal? What's your goal? Maybe tonight you don't have a God-sized goal. Maybe you have a you-sized goal. A goal of getting stronger. Maybe you have a relationship goal. Maybe you have you want to get smarter. You want to raise your grades in school. Maybe you have a you-sized goal. Some of you might have a God-sized goal tonight. Keep that in your mind. If you're not sure what you think about God or about God-sized goals right now, that is okay. What I'm going to share with you applies to any kind of opposition, discouragement, or difficulty that you might face. And if you're not sure that you found yourself a God-sized goal, that's okay too. Your God-sized goal doesn't need to be about changing the whole world. It might as for Jesus in your school, or in your family, or with your friends. And if you think you might have a God-sized goal growing in your heart, that's great. Keep listening. Because you're bound to face some opposition to that goal eventually. So a few minutes ago, we saw how Nehemiah handled his opposition. What if we took those same tactics that Nehemiah used and we applied those to our own goals? So do you still have your goal in mind? Is there something you want to do, become, or change, but you're facing opposition? Keep your keep your goal in mind as we think about these 5 things together. So when you need strength to pursue your God-sized goal, first take it to God. Nehemiah was in constant communication with God. But this was especially true when he was facing opposition. And when you're struggling with the goals that God has called you to pursue, what would it look like for you to first take it to God? What questions would you ask him? What would you want him to know? What would you say? Secondly, choose community. God gives us strength through the Holy Spirit, but God also gives us strength through community. We weren't designed to pursue God-sized goals alone. We need each other. So when you're facing opposition and losing strength, what would it look like for you to lean in to your community? Are you surrounded by people that you trust? And if not, maybe building that community is your first step. Third, rest. Nehemiah asked God for strength to keep going, but he knew, and the rest of his community needed rest as well. We weren't designed to hustle forever. We weren't. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're weak or tired, what helps you feel rested and renewed so that you can keep going? Is it sleep? Is it time with friends? Is it time by yourself? Time away from the internet and your devices? Fourth, don't get distracted. When you're following God, not everyone will like or support your God-sized goal. And that is okay. It is not your job to please everyone. All you need to worry about is pleasing God and staying close to the people who want what's best for you. So what would that look like for you? Whose voices do you need to shut out of your life? Whose voices do you need to amplify in your life? Fifth, keep going. With your masks on, take a deep breath in. Breathe it out. As long as you can still do that, you're not done. I see you struggling, Maddie, but you're still breathing. If you can feel that breath, that means you're still here and you have another chance to keep going. And opposition will come. Things will get difficult. But if you know Jesus, you have the Spirit of God living inside you. He's filling you with strength. He's filling you with power. He's filling you with love and self-discipline. And with God, you can keep going. So what's that goal that you're thinking of right now? What's that goal? If you were here on the first night when we started this series, I gave you all a goat. And on that goat, I asked you to write down a goal. You remember what GOAT stands for? Greatest of all time. I want you to take this paper and I want you to write your goal on it. And maybe you don't have a God-sized goal right now. That's okay. If you do have a God-sized goal, I want it on this goat. If you have a you-sized goal, you don't have a God-sized goal, you have a you-sized goal. Getting better grades, being nicer to my it, I promise you. It's a youth-sized goal. I want that on the goat. Okay? Amy's going to pass these goats out. Lynn, is there tape back there?
Tape? Green tape.
Green tape will work. Here's what's going to happen. As you write down your goals, as you write them down on the goat, the option is yours. You want to sign your name to it, go ahead. If you want to keep it anonymous, that's fine too. I want to see your goal written on that goat. And what's going to happen is Lynn's going to stand by the door. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to play a music video for you. During that time, you write down your goal. Once you have finished your goal, you're going to hand your goal goat to Lynn, and she's going to tape them on the wall above Andrew. You write with crayon, you write with pencil, you write with pen. If you need something, write with the blood of your enemy. No, don't do that. Okay? You need something to write with? Just raise your hand, someone will be around and help you.
Which wall?
Right above Andrew. Now, once you have your goal written down, once you've passed it to Lynn and she's put it up on the wall, here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to take a picture of the wall. I'm going to take a picture of our goats. I'm going to post them in Discord because I want us all to be looking at these, and I want us all to be reminded of the ones that we put up on that wall. If anyone doesn't have their goat tonight, you don't have your goal in mind tonight, okay? I do want you to think closely and carefully about it, but if we get to the end of the song and you're like, God's not giving me nothing, I don't know what to write, I have nothing to write down, that's fine. Don't feel forced into writing something down that you don't mean, okay? But it could be a God-sized goal, a youth-sized goal, whatever. We'll put them up on the wall. I'm going to post them into our Discord chat so that we can all see them later. Marley?
You write in the goat or on the back?
Right in the goat.
In the belly of the goat.
In the belly of the goat. Okay? Now, I'm going to pray for us. The video is going to start right after. You go see Lynn with your goat. Once the video ends, you guys can hang out in the entryway and have fun. There'll be about 8 minutes left. Okay? Yes.
Do you think I can watch this pencil all the way to the wall?
We'll see in a minute. Father, thank you for tonight. Thank you for the power of goals. Thank you for the power of your spirit living in us to accomplish those goals. God, I have no doubt that tonight you're calling some of these students to great things. And maybe they don't understand how great they are just yet. They don't understand how great a change, a small change could be. God, if they chose to make a difference in their schools, if they had a goal to make a difference in their homes, if they had a goal to make a difference with their siblings, or if they had a goal to make a difference with a friend, or maybe just to amplify positive voices in their heads and not listen to the negative ones. God, what a difference that could make in their lives. So God, whatever it is that you're placing in each student's mind, help them not to be ashamed of it. Help them to own it. Help them to know that it came straight from you and that you're going to provide the strength to accomplish it. God, I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, the video is going to play. If you've got your goat done